All right. IAE show, episode 2. It's Sunday, right after the podcast. It's an 18-minute show, and I already saw something that I'm interested in. We'll see. So here we go. This is Misk and Mirai Day. So whatever that means, we'll see what they have to show and what's going on. So let's go. I started it, but it's muted. Now it's not. Here we go. All right, so that's the Guardian. By the way, I got a copyright thing for the last react to one of these, so I look forward to getting the next one. Oh, it's Jax. That's me. But in this like cameo that doesn't matter. Oh, amazing. Oh, maybe not.
Up next, an old favorite from the show floor.
The Misk Prospector is the most popular single-operator mining vehicle in the UAE, capable of breaking and gathering 32 SCU of resources without the need for additional staff and investment, like other offerings from Argo and its competitors. With fully customizable performance and a range of upgradable mining heads and gadgets, the Misk Prospector
it is my baby, but why are they showing
it? Is crafted for miners who mean business.
It's so old.
Fitted with numerous quality-of-life features that make extended excursions a breeze, along with hardy defenses against smaller aggressors, this craft is built to handle the demands of deep space resource gathering. Its iconic metallic blue Misk styling speaks volumes, telling the verse you're a dedicated tradesperson focused on success in every venture. The Prospector, like the Misk Fortune and every offering from the Misk line of industrial vehicles, blends form and function into practical prosperity and are available for perusal on this year's IAE show floor.
Well, I guess it's not a leak anymore. The Misk Fortune is the thing, so the mods can stop.
Turn now to the IAE show, brought to you from New Babbage, site of this year's Intergalactic Aerospace Expo, and your guide to the future of spacecraft and vehicles in the verse. Today's topic, Capital Combat, with Rich Tyra, John Crew, and Jared Huckabee. Stay tuned, it's the IAE show, and it starts right now.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for coming back. We're here for part 2 of our discussion on the life of spaceships and Star Citizen. I want to follow up on something, Rich, that you kind of hinted at in part 1. You mentioned the Squadron 42 demo several times and this experience that was being built at. It's not just a cinematic thing for the start of the show. It's actually seems to be reflective of this capital warfare experience that we're attempting to build here. So I want to ask you outright, how is capital warfare supposed to work? What are we building towards, and why should folks be excited?
I think the first thing to sort of approach is it shouldn't just be the same gameplay as small ships, just scaled up. It needs to be, we talked about progression, it should be a progression of gameplay. So you can't just...
Yeah, now you just stand in a turret and look out a camera and fire missiles and stuff. I look forward to seeing more engineering. We'll see what happens with that.
Turn up, lob 50 torpedoes at a ship, press the I win button and go on. You've got to remove those defenses layer by layer. So capital ships have multiple defenses. Obviously they have turrets on them for shooting ships.
Which I want to point out, I like having my individual, everyone's got their individual role that they have to do. It's just a lot of the turret roles feel sort of insignificant at the moment.
They also have PDCs for disabling closer targets such as missiles and torpedoes. And then they have physicalized shield emitters, which is what you saw in the demo where Cal Mason sort of kites a Vandal ship into it. So you need to take all those things out in progression to stand a chance against a capital ship.
So it's not not just a brute force thing. I know a lot of folks are imagining just coming in with an A2 and dropping a Moab on top of an Idris or something like this. It sounds like there's a puzzle to be solved here. Is that how you would say it, Rich?
Ultimately, capital ship warfare should be a puzzle that you have to figure out. If you actually watch that cinematic for the squadron demo, you'll notice that one of the lines is, "Hey Cal, I don't think your weapons are large enough to be able to take out that shield emitter," or that shield Jenny, as they say. And he says, "You may be right." And that is actually true. You shouldn't be able to turn up with small ships and small caliber weapons against a huge capital ship. And it's what we touched on in part 1 in terms of the physicalized nature of the damage. If I fire a small caliber pistol at tank, it's not going to do much. The reason why we have like an Ares or a Retaliator is to allow you to soften up the capital ship shield so that you can actually then get access to the shield emitters and the PDCs and the weapons.
Why not? Because it's stupid. Why does somebody in a light fighter feel that they should be able to do everything? They've been able to do everything forever, and it's proven to be unfun, boring, and just not interesting.
That are actually keeping your fighters away.
We want this.
And the way that the shield faces work is that they're underpinned by physicalized shield emitters, which are then connected to the core shield generator, or in large capital ships might have multiple shield generators. So ultimately, your first foray should be like, okay, which shield face are we going to try and soften up and dampen to weaken it, to be able to then send in our a squad of fighters to be able to target certain shield emitters, another squad to be able to target the PDCs, or in case if you're taking a much larger ship, like a Javelin size, which will have flax. So you'll have...
That's a very interesting thought process, and it feels like they don't play the game there a little bit, is when a shield face goes down, that doesn't give you the safety of just going right up to an Idris and starting to try to take out its PDCs, because the turrets are just going to turn on you and kill you if you're in a light fighter, right? So I'm not sure where he's getting at with this. This is just not how it works. It may be how it works in his head, but it's not how it works in real life. And I'm not sure how that's going to play out. It's an interesting thought, but is anybody vibing with the story he's telling you right now? Because it's not working for me at all. It doesn't make sense. The puzzle, I'm not very good at puzzles, though. So
have to basically figure out, okay, this group or this squadron will take on this squadron will take on this, and this is...
Unless he means by this squadron will take out these turrets, it'll be like heavier fighters or something like that could fire from farther away with cannons, or I don't know.
Where the hologlobe comes in.
Because he's softly lying? I think he's not lying at all. I think he's telling you, again, this is all about their intentions. And you can hate the fact that they're only talking about their intentions and they don't actually have something to show you. But they're just talking about how they want it to be. I just don't think it can be that way.
In terms of you're the...
Wait, did he say cloak? I'll go back.
Will take on this. In case if you're taking a much larger ship, like a Javelin size, which will have flax. So you'll have to basically figure out, okay, this group or this squadron will take on this squadron will take on this, and this is where the hologlobe comes in. In terms of you're the admiral of the fleet, you're going, okay, right, I'm assigning you this target, and then if you're a fighter, you're going to then receive markers. And then obviously you're going to be connected to be able to say, okay, go now, I want you to attack now, because you need to have a coordinated alpha strike.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
If you just drip feed your damage over time, the capital ship will just be able to absorb it. So this is where you need to be able to go, okay, what's my tactics, what's my high-level strategy? And then once you've taken out the PDCs and you've taken down a shield phase, that's when you've got essentially two options. One option will be to board, so you'll be able to then use our hacking gameplay, and then obviously you'll have to fight your way through to the bridge to be able to take over it. Or the other side is then you just, if your mission is to just destroy this ship, if you've taken down those layers of defenses like John says, that's where you then send in the torpedoes. So capital ship gameplay is again planned to utilize all the different roles of the different ships that we've made over the years, and it should be a significant challenge to be able to take out one of those larger ships.
Let's paint a picture here. What's one capital engagement supposed to be?
Well, let's just use save the Idris event, if you want to go through.
Yeah, so realistically, when you're coming up to it, first thing you should be doing is scanning it so you know what you're going up against. You want to do a scan on it to work out where are its shield emitters, so then you can then plan, like we want to take the right-hand side shield emitter down. So we'll mark that as a target, give it to that group.
You might be sending in a terrapin or a forward ship to be able to get scan data that then relays that back to you on the Polaris and your hologlobe. If you're able to go, okay, now I've got some information to work with, how do I then approach it from there?
Yeah, because one capital versus another capital is probably the worst scenario if it's literally two single capital. They need their fleets to reach their maximum potential. So you should be bringing these support ships with you. So yeah, you've scanned it.
So again, they are really hammering this, like, you need your support ships, but then turrets just absolutely tear apart support ships. But they're not really the thing that I'm missing here. And if any of these two guys ever hear this, and they're probably never going to, the part that I'm confused by, and it's probably more than just me, is you said fighters. But you're asking me with a fighter to take out its mortal enemy, which would be a turret. What takes out a turret? Just talk to me about how you go about taking out a turret, and then I would be way less confused.
You've identified your point where you're going to be attacking. You assign a group of fighters from your ship or from your fleet, take away their fighters, try and attack their turrets, and then you run another group to sort of bring down those shield emitters. The majority of them will be under the skin, so you need to scan to find their locations and then
Chat, I'm not asking the question to you and what's in your head canon of how it's going to work. I mean, we need an actual official answer from them. You could say whatever you want in chat, but it's just in your head, right? I want to know seriously. Like, definitely we'll go into precision mode, but precision mode in a fighter is you're kind of a sitting duck. So, yeah, I don't know.
Target them specifically.
He just said, all right. I don't think he did.
The majority of them will be under the skin, so you need to scan to find their locations and then target them specifically.
Using ADS.
Damage penetration.
Or precision targeting, as we should say.
So again, things like the 2 starfighters are great for this role. So you have the Inferno, the ballistics will penetrate through and damage it. The Iron, great to bring the shields down to allow those ballistics to go even easier to the hull.
You've got to take out the PDCs as well.
Yep, PDCs as well.
So the PDCs won't just attack missiles and torpedoes, they will also attack other small objects. And so we need to make sure that you've created a safe zone or an entryway and you're punched through those defenses, and then you've got your options of either boarding or destruction, depending on what your objective is.
Sounds like something ideal for a light fighter, just taking down the PDCs.
Absolutely, like light fighter, heavy fighter.
I don't get it. I don't get it. The PDCs are the things that kill you when you're the light fighter.
But you won't just be able to penetrate the shields on a capital ship because they'd be so heavy. So you'll need to use relevant weapon rate. That's where really the capital ship main weapons come in, because they're the ones that are actually doing the main damage on the shields to be able to soften it up, to allow their fighters and support ships. You can't just roll up and just try and out DPS it. I mean, you can, but you're rolling the dice. You know, is my ship, capital ship, going to be better than your capital ship? Am I going to be able to maneuver it well? Because that's the one thing to discuss about shield emitters.
Tier 5,
right now, you have a shield generator that kind of creates a bubble, and we say, okay, this is this face, right face, left wing. And if you look at the wing, if you shoot the wing from the front and it hits the front of the wing, we just automatically work out, like, okay, is that the front face or is that the left face? And for the player, that...
Abe, PDCs are not intended to shoot at ships, maybe. They literally just said they shoot at ships.
It's not super obvious. So you want to be an understanding, like, okay, well, the shield actually hugs the ship, so we need to know, well, actually, that's the left face. So you as a player can go, right, that's what we're targeting, that's what we need to bring down, because otherwise these shield generators are so powerful on capital ships, they'll just be coming back.
And throughout all of that, we've sort of assumed that the target ship is just sat there.
Absolutely.
You have the opposite, like, you're on the ship.
The defender is spinning the ship around, trying to put trying to put their stronger side towards the attack.
You're seeing all this fire coming to this side, so you're now trying to maneuver yourself to avoid that. Counter players, they're trying to take out your thrusters to stop you maneuvering, so it is a big puzzle.
So shields down,
it's a big
PDCs cleared.
session, though.
And that's where this can go from a ship versus ship to a combined arms
Absolutely.
which is really what's most exciting to me. This idea that you now have to send troops over to breach.
What I'm taking from this is what they want it to be is some sort of combined arms, like Jared's saying. I gotta see what they mean by fighters, right? And taking out the PDCs and things like that. It's just something isn't adding up in this puzzle.
And board the ship.
Yeah, and also you might have to defend against being boarded. So if you're going up against another player, and they've got a Polaris and you've got a Polaris, or when we add the Idris into the game and you're coming up, then you're going to have different mixes of gameplay.
Yeah, they know something we
whether
don't.
It's resources, station warfare, all the things that we've discussed.
So I'm not questioning them, and like at first I was like, they don't play the game. They don't play the game we're currently playing. They have something else. That's more what I mean. And let's hope that they know what they're doing. But again, it's hard to just trust them, because we've played this game for a really long time and they have not really ever gotten it right. So it's pretty tough to sit here and go, yeah, it's going to be okay. Call Rich for ATC. That's not a possibility.
Discussed previously. We've not really got to end game yet. Yeah. We're still really at mid game. End game is fleet battles and being able to utilize these large ships, and then that comes back to TTD if you do lose, or you need salvage, or you need repair, or you need to rescue the people that are still on the ship. These types of battles, these types of combat add and are underpinned by so much more gameplay than what we've just discussed today. And I think that's where it starts to connect the loops.
All right, so that's just a little bit about Capital Warfare. Thank you so much for sharing. Our viewers are going to...
This is tough, man. It's tough. I don't know what we're learning from any of this right now.
Be incredibly excited about that. The Polaris obviously makes its debut at this year's IAE, and while these systems are still in development and will continue to come out in 2025 and beyond, just having this vision intact here, people will be able to judge decisions that come in subsequent releases against the...
All right, now you're hearing why they're doing this, right? Which is what I thought they were doing, is they want to lay it out there. And what they're basically telling you right now is that we're not going to change our mind on this. Your feedback matters, but not at a macro scale, at a more micro scale now. We have made our decisions on what we think is fun, and we are going to work towards those decisions. And you can help us say it works or it doesn't, or a little tweak here would be there, a little tweak there, but we're going with it this way. And we want you to watch us build it out. And that's a good thing. Now, again, what we don't want to see is history repeat itself, which is Jared bringing ex-dev on the show, them saying this is what we're going to do, and then they don't do it, right? So, is this Rich era the last era? Hopefully. Hopefully it is. And this is the era of... This is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. And then you're going to watch them work towards that. I've said this time and time again. I can watch them take very, very small incremental steps towards a final goal if that goal is not going to change. And that goal is going to stay what it is. But they have just changed directions 600 times. And it's like, I don't believe you. I don't believe anything that is being said here right now. I cannot. It's not that I don't. I cannot. I cannot believe you until you start proving it. And that's it. I got nothing else. Yeah, you fooled me 100 times now. They fooled me more than twice, and I'm just not going to be a fool anymore. So I'm still sitting here hoping, but I will continuously say every time they do one of these shows where it's talk, prove it.
The direction that we're going to. So thank you so much. Up next, I have to have a very uncomfortable conversation with Rich. He's a player in my D&D group, and he's been a little too min-maxy. So Rich, let's talk about this, shall we?
Absolutely.
The classic returns.
So today on Lore Makers, we're going to talk about Henry Brown, an exciting inventor who in 1886 filed a patent for one of the most exciting inventions of all time, the file cabinet.
So it turns out that in North America, most of the melons that people think are cantaloupes are actually a different varietal of muskmelons.
With the story of the star system with the richest history in the UEE.
It started out as a private detective agency called Pinkertons, and not many people know this, but the Pinkertons actually became the foundation for the US Secret Service.
And so then in order to sell more dictionaries, they changed a lot of the spellings of the word from the original British English into new American spellings.
The system they said couldn't be covered in just one episode.
In Arthurian legend, the wizard Merlin actually had an owl named Archimedes.
And so then with the radiation powering its core, it sort of rose out of the ocean and started destroying the city.
They were right.
You see, the founding fathers, they never intended for us to have Wi-Fi.
Now, the colonel wasn't actually from Kentucky.
This summer, the lawmakers return.
And that is how you get out of jury duty.
And so they needed a product that would leave their hair silky and smooth. That was called conditioner.
With a new 365-part series.
So they were never actually lost. The island was purgatory.
Since he was coming
Oh my God.
from a comedic background, not a lot of people thought Michael Keaton could pull off the part.
Lawmaker's Guide to the Galaxy. Welcome to Earth Edition. Nothing you want to know, everything you need to know.
So at the end of the day, down to brass tacks, there is nothing better than a breakfast burrito. I don't care what the breakfast taco lobby says.
And so then
French
they looked
toast.
at the baby and they said, your name will be Chris.
The RSI Polaris arrives on day 5 of this year's expo. And instead of asking those who built it what it's supposed to be like, we went to the folks who know these vehicles inside and out. The testers dedicated to putting power through its paces.
Oh, the backers?
We return now to the premiere of Pew Pew with the Polaris, presently in progress.
The torpedoes are very interesting anyway. They're bespoke for the ship.
It's the first time?
Yeah, first time S10.
But they are massive.
Yes.
I think they do twice the damage of a size 9, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Move slow, but they're cool.
Yeah.
Especially when they hit.
They're big, slow missiles.
Yeah.
I haven't had
Might
one
need
hit
changing,
yet.
but we did do jousting with it during the PT. And
Jousting battleships.
they were just coming at each other and you just see them fire off, and it's awesome. It's good for a battle, for sure.
All at once, they come one after.
Yeah, they're slightly staggered, so you get like 1, 2, 3, but there are 4 separate tubes. It's not like when you have it on the Tally or when you have it on the Eclipse.
It means you get to appreciate every single one that comes.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, you get 28 of them.
Yeah.
Which is...
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of damage in a Polaris, let's put it that way.
With 28 torpedoes, yeah.
And
How
the
much
revolving
damage does a
barrel
Polaris
that they're in, that's
torpedo
pretty
do?
cool.
Like
Yeah, and you
5
can see
million
them
or something?
when you're
times
in the
28?
torpedo room. You can like see them get loaded into the racks while you're in there.
Yeah, there's like glass in front of it. Looks really sick when the torpedo like rolls into it.
The chin turret on the front, they now have bespoke guns on.
That's my favorite.
They're now, I think, size 6, when they were previously size 5. But
That's
they're
my
completely
favorite part of the
bespoke to
Polaris.
We basically made it as big as we could so that you could still see out of it. And the top man turret, I think, are now quad size 4.
Are they repeaters? Or
they're laser.
Is it the ones on the side that have cannons?
The chin turret is ballistic.
You also have 2 remote turrets.
Yeah, one of them is just like repeaters and one of them is missiles at the back.
Which you get plenty of ammo for.
Yeah, those are your 2 support seats in the bridge as well. So you're like in the command deck. I think it's the most guns we have on any ship at the minute.
Is it not challenging?
Are these the devs that are going to finish Star
The Hammerhead
Citizen?
is going to be close, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a similar experience, but with bigger
Which
guns.
era will this guy
If you
take
have
over?
a full crew,
Yeah.
you're going to do an awful lot of damage.
Well, you also make use of them when you got smaller ships swarming around.
Yeah, 100%.
Having all the turrets around the ship really helps with that. Not that they can do much damage to you anyway, because obviously.
True.
Strong shields on the ship.
It's going to be probably the strongest fighting ship we've got, combat ship we've got. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It essentially means if you're getting fired by missiles, the guys that you've got on your turrets don't have to worry about them. You can sort of leave those to the PDCs and let the people in turrets shoot the actual ships that are shooting you.
Yeah. Won't hit everything, but you've still got your usual countermeasures. It's just that
They're just showing the buggy as hell too, which is funny.
Yes, I've seen the smoke screen that comes out.
Yeah, and you can stack them because they're bigger anyway. If you stack a few of the flares up and then set them off at once, it's like a fireworks display. It's crazy. But yeah, the PDCs, when we did the first implementation of it, and I was testing it with Chris Danks, who's the designer, and seeing the first time a missile locks, and then they immediately sit up, turn, and then as it hits, they start firing. It's pretty awesome.
That's really cool.
They do only work if a missile is locked on. So if someone has missile lock, then the PDCs will work because that's how they function.
Yeah. That's
if someone's just dumb firing missiles or torpedoes, they won't see it.
People have to get really good at dumb firing missiles.
They might have to.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's a big target, so I wouldn't worry too much.
No.
That changed like a week ago. Tisk, tisk.
So yeah, guys,
QA.
that's our review of the RSI Polaris. We hope you guys enjoyed. Wait, guys, we need to talk about all the 6 toilets.
Check at what time? Oh my God, what's going on? Where did it go? Check at 59. Okay. There appears to be a Drake thing. Caught? Caught what? Watching videos that I normally watch. I'm not afraid of anything that was on there. There's a vulture. Okay. After it is Jax. Old Jax. And then what looks like a very sleek prospector. So that's probably the Fortune, whatever that is. 1758 is the next one. I'm at 59 right now. Big Benny's. Yeah, I don't think that's anything. I mean, it's functioning in the game, so maybe it will be a thing. Yeah. You think it's going to be in? It's functioning. I mean, cleaning up bottles and stuff around your base. I mean, I would have it. I don't know about you guys. I would literally have this. I wouldn't buy it for real money, but I would buy it in game. I would, but we'll see. I don't think they would show it if they, I think they know how much people want it. So I don't think that they would mess around with that too much, because I think that they know it would piss people off if they didn't sell it. I'm going to be dead serious on that one. But I would say this episode was not as good as the last one. The QA section was weird. It was like, hey, QA guys, sell the Polaris for us, and it was just kind of awkward and weird. And then the capital ship stuff is very Imagine right now until it's not. We'll just have to see how the taking out of the PDCs things work. Now, I will say, and I should have mentioned it during that part, is I went Polaris versus Polaris. My PDCs were taken out. We started getting hit with missiles. So part of that exists. The part that I'm fighting and unsure about is the fighter part. I don't get how or why we would use fighters to take out turrets when the turret is like literally our paper to our rock, right? So that's the part that I'm very confused about. And I would just, if I was in that room, I would just be like, hold up, what do you mean by that? Because that's how I look at this. Just saying ballistics doesn't do it. It's the talk about ranges, talk about cannons, talk about the aim down sights a little bit and things like that. I would just like to go a little bit deeper on like what kind of fighters, what kind of weapons, more importantly, I think. So I would have just asked for a little bit more clarification there if I was in the room, but I wasn't, so we'll just find out. But I definitely experienced the taking out of the PDCs aspect, which was very interesting. So, yeah, I'd like to see some PDCs on, like, my mole. I think that would be cool. They did mention the Hurricane and the Ares, right, a few times. I imagine maybe the Guardian will fall into that at some point, but hard to say. Hard to say. So just, yeah, I'd like more clarification on that in particular. It's the thing that I'm just, like, locked onto and I can't let go of.